Sometimes the things you want are expensive, and the things you don't really want are on sale. In this video, I'm going to try and transform one of the more controversial and undesired Halloween candies and see if I can turn it into an expensive liquor. So I had this weird idea that I wanted to see if I could turn candy corn into whiskey. Part of my inspiration for this experiment is because I spent all of last year attempting to grow my own field of corn and barley to try and grow a barrel of whiskey from scratch. But a drought and hungry wildlife completely devastated my field, leaving me a pretty meek harvest. In consolation, that fall, I hit up to the post-Halloween candy sales to load up on my guilty pleasure, candy corn, hoping I could at least get some kind of corn to eat. But that led me to wonder, could I continue with my experiment with this discounted substitute? At the end of the day, pretty much anything with sugar can be fermented into ethanol. And I'm pretty sure there's at least some sugar in candy corn. I mean, I even managed to turn grass into ethanol that could then run a lawnmower in the past. So it should definitely be possible, but will it be good? Well, let's try it out and see how it tastes. So to start things out, I borrowed some fermenting and distilling equipment from a friend, and of course sanitized everything to start. So we melted down a batch of 10 pounds of candy corn. Skimmed out the waxy lac that's on the outside of the candy corn, which is actually what makes it not vegan.
That'll give you a bad idea to put these down the sink though.
Poured it into a fermenting jar. Pitched it with some yeast, and then let the microorganisms do their thing for 2 weeks. It's been several weeks now, and we have our fermented mass here. So at this point, we basically made more or less beer. Not too many surprises at this point. They were definitely active, so there's definitely fermentation, and I'm pretty sure we can do a little taste of these and taste at least some alcohol. It's gonna be very flat and very, it's gonna be interesting, I would say. Oh, that's weird. What is that? It's still sweet. Not revolting, but you can kind of taste the candy corn still, I guess, but it's still sweet though. The next step will be the distillation. Bringing these all to a boil, collecting what comes off of it, and we'll have to do a little bit of a separation because the first part of the distillation will be mostly toxic stuff that you don't want to consume, and then basically the middle section is what we want for the alcohol, and then there'll be the tails, which are also not the greatest.
Like it's got the alcohol smell to it, but it's that gross alcohol smell.
Yeah. I ended up doing 2 runs to try and clean it up as best as possible, and was left with a very strong result. After that, I poured it into some small oak aging casks, which should age them in just a few weeks. I wasn't too confident I'd be able to actually get years worth of aging in only a few weeks though, so I also tried increasing the surface area even more with a bunch of oak cubes. Lastly, the final result is likely not going to have much of the original candy corn sugar or flavor in the end, which may or may not be a good thing. But I thought I'd infuse some spirit with candy corn so that I could back sweeten the final result and see if that improved the taste at all. Now to put it to a blind taste against some store-bought whiskeys, also known as White Dog, which is basically moonshine at this point.
Yep, that's alcohol.
Okay, I like this one the most, whatever this one is.
Ooh, ooh, oh, that one, it's burning. Got a little bit more of a candy smell to that one, but I think that one's yours.
Definitely better than that one.
If I had to guess which one's yours, I would say the first one.
To me, these 2 outer ones taste very similar. For that reason, I feel like this one might be the candy corn one.
I want to say this one. This one. Like there's the hints of like the corn smell in it.
I kind of recognize the smell, which makes me think it's the one I've been brewing. That had a kick. Is this mine?
Yes, it
Okay.
is.
This exceeds my expectation. It's definitely harsh though. Like, I can definitely taste things in this one that aren't in the other two. Pleasantly surprised. This is actually very good.
That's weird because for some reason this one to me felt like it had more flavor. None of them definitely taste like candy corn, that's for sure.
This is the one that almost hurt. It's more whiskey than it is candy corn, which I suppose is kind of the point.
I swore I smelled candy corn on this one, but I would say this is definitely better than that. So I would choose this one first, this one second, and this one would be the one that I would toss into the trash. I toss all of them into the trash, quite honestly, but if you made me, I would drink this one.
Next, the aged whiskey. I don't expect my whiskey to compete with anything top shelf, so I chose a common rail drink and a locally made whiskey. Both were aged at least 2 years, but supposedly is comparable because the small barrels have more surface area.
This one tastes woody.
That one's got a kick too. Okay.
A nice, mild taste. Very woody. That one can take off paint. Horrible. That one's the worst flavor by a wide margin. That one tasted like Lysol.
Definitely got more woody, a lot smoother, a little bit of afterburn. Now I'm not sure. I'll have the wood flavor, which makes sense for whiskey. I don't know. I think this one's the Jack. I'm not sure between these two. I think maybe this one is the candy corn.
I'm gonna guess yours is number one again. Is it number one?
I mean, they're all pretty good. They're all pretty smooth and all taste pretty decent. This one might be the candy corn.
If I had to guess, I'd say this one is the candy corn whiskey.
So out of all of them, I like this one the most. Is it ours?
It is.
I need to raise my expectations.
This one you can kind of taste something in there that makes me think it's candy corn one.
Okay. That was a lot harder than I expected. Yeah. I thought it'd be really obvious. Wow.
Okay, interesting. That has the most flavor, and then that has a little more punch to it.
Wow. It's good. It's got some punch to it. It's mostly whiskey. A noticeable aftertaste.
I will say the flavor notes at the end after I died were actually kind of cool. Very strong flavor. Let me taste it one more time. After that initial gag reflex subsides, there are really unique flavors. I can't tell you what they are.
Lastly, a comparison of a few different variations of my brew. The White Dog and aged whiskey again, now back sweetened with just a hint of actual candy corn compared to the previous unsweetened version, and then the super dark whiskey that I aged with a ton of wood cubes.
Oh, man. I can see why they age liquor, because it's just like, it just hits you as like diesel fuel in your mouth.
That one tastes how I remember it. It's not bad.
It's definitely got a taste to it. This is our stuff. We did a damn good job.
Couldn't taste the sweetening because my mouth was burning.
It's definitely better. Still, a little bit of sweetness definitely makes it a little bit better. Still would not buy that. It's very subtle though. I'm surprised how subtle. I thought I added a fair amount.
That's interesting. Can definitely still taste the candy corn, especially more than I did with this one.
It's still potent, but I kind of like it. I think this one's my favorite. Just a little bit of like sugar to it.
I say they're both very good, but this one's probably a little bit, just a touch better. Maybe it could be sweetened a touch more. I don't know.
This one the best. I definitely think that would be my preference.
Andy, I need to drive home after this. I taste no difference. But again, I don't know if my taste buds have just been burned off. But from this, it's all just alcohol.
It does taste woody, but it almost tastes a little, like just a little sweet too.
It's weird to say. I can taste the wood. It's like if you took this one and soaked a 2x4 in it and then sucked on the 2x4.
Oh yeah, it's wood.
For me, like I'm getting hints of like root beer and like hickory and maple and like woody.
Alarmingly dark. It's the best one. You know what? The flavor of wood is preferable to the flavor of burning rocket fuel. I'm guessing a whiskey connoisseur would turn up their nose to this, so don't take my opinion on that one. I guess I would continue to refine this one. I wonder if you could add more flavor, because again, I'm not tasting the flavor yet. So I think whatever you're doing, double it, and then possibly double it again. Andy has offered me the flavoring, and there is a dead bug in it. But because I support Andy so much, I will sip it Do we see the dead bug? This is the best thing I've drinking all day. Bug carcass and all. And maybe the bug helped a little bit, honestly. It's a worm in the mezcal. It was a beautiful addition. Maybe add more flies. My vote is for the fly-infested drink.
So at the end of this, I think this is a very interesting experiment that's turned out a lot better than I expected. I did not necessarily expect this to go too well in the beginning, and I think I've been kind of surprised at various points at how well different parts of it have tasted. Candy corn tea, not very good. Fermented as a beer, not as bad as you would think. And then distilled, pretty harsh. And then aged, actually not horrible. In a lineup with a bunch of other whiskeys, hard to tell apart. I think probably the most interesting part is when you taste the White Dog unaged whiskey and the aged stuff. It kind of makes you realize that a lot of the flavor of whiskey is actually from the wood. And I also learned that you can age it fairly fast in a smaller barrel, and you can age it way too fast with too much wood. This stuff was not that great. This kind of opens the door for making some actual good whiskey in the future. If we can turn candy corn into something this good, hopefully with actual corn, I can make something pretty decent. This is my first foray into proper distilling and aging of a liquor. Very interesting results. Because it is mostly sugar, this technically should be more of a rum, but it doesn't really taste like a rum. It tastes like a whiskey because I treat it like whiskey. So I'm kind of curious, what it would take to actually make this taste like an actual rum. Let's see where the next experiment takes me. Thanks for checking out this new channel. It's kind of the first experiment. I have a few different series I'm looking to launch and kind of do limited runs and see how well they do, including returning back to kind of the original sandwich project that I started before I even made How to Make Everything. Thanks again for subscribing. Thanks again for checking this out. Thanks for watching.